Well, all of you are witnesses, right? Camera people take hundreds of pictures. I know what they do with them. Hundreds and hundreds of pictures. Shall we? You're still under your previous oath to tell the truth. Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Mwe. Let me wrap up where we were. We were discussing the audit that had been conducted at your facility on 28 July 2016. There are just two more issues arising from that I'd like to put to you. The first is, you spoke about the food. The first is, you spoke about food and the adequacy of the food, and that in your view, the residents at Precious Angels were receiving sufficient and daily and regular meals.
Yes,
is that correct?
Councillor.
So at page 2499 of the record, so just 2 pages on from where we were, the audit report says under point 4, dealing with food preparation and dining facilities, that there should be a clear demarcated area for dining, as currently patients are dining in their bedrooms at both the centers. It goes on at the bottom to say the center manager has to purchase enough eating utensils, as the first house in Danville did not have enough spoons to cater for all the patients. These patients have to take turns when eating in regard to the use of spoons. Can you respond to that, please?
The whole sentence or paragraph is incorrect, because I was doing catering on other side. All of the utensils and basically all the resources for catering were sent out to both centers, and we also had to buy like the soft cups, spoons, for those whom cannot chew properly with a steel.
So are you saying that around, this is dated 28 July?
Yes.
At that point in time, it's not true?
Yes, that's not
what is stated
true.
Here?
It's not true, because all the utensils and resources, basically the basic needs resources are there, and those that we also bought, they can be produced as evidence on slips in terms of monthly record expenditure.
When was your organization registered?
2016, meaning at the social development, or?
Yeah, when was it ready? When was it registered with Department of Social Development as an NPO?
Early 2016, and the certificate we obtained it on the 9th of June 2016, before we could obtain patients.
9 June 2016?
Yes.
So you didn't start receiving patients until after that?
Yes.
And you're saying by 28 July 2016, you had no problem with food, no problem with spoons, no problem with the staff?
Yes.
And all of that I've read to you in the preceding questions.
Yes, Council.
Which is incorrect. Thank you. Ma'am, there are going to be some family members testifying in the course of this hearing.
Okay.
And they will be testifying to the conditions at Precious Angels and their own experience of the death of their loved ones. Okay. So if I may, I'm going to go through some of this with you. I'm going to begin with Nathaniel Masejo, otherwise known as Solly. Do you know this name?
Solly, yes.
Who was Solly?
One of the patients that we had at Precious Angel.
And he died on 6 August 2016.
I don't have the records, but I believe you have those that we have sent out from.
Did Solly Masejo die while he was at Precious Angels?
Yes.
And did you have contact details of his family?
There were no, with contact details, no. The coordinators, they were busy looking for their family members. Eventually, when we got hold of them, the department has given through to me. I was the one that had to break the news.
So where did you get the details from?
From our department coordinator, Dr. Sophie, because she was the one that was helping us to trace our family.
So she had the contact details for the family?
Yes, then that's when they gave in to us.
Ms. Pumzile Motsehwa is the sister of Solly Masejo.
Okay.
She will be coming to testify later in these hearings. And
Alright,
she will say that you called her, well, in fact, one of the neighbors called her on 9 September 2016 to say that there were people at her house. Did you meet the neighbor? Well, did you go to her house?
No, it's the coordinators, they were helping us to trace the families, and they were trying to get hold of the families and as well.
So did you not go to her home?
No, because the coordinators, they were trying to get hold of the families. I only spoke to the sister when they got the message.
So, okay, you say you did not go to her home.
Yes.
Ms. Motsehwa is going to say that you were at her home when she arrived.
Oh, sorry, counsel.
So, yes.
Are you on the second person now? Are you on the second patient?
Second patient.
Yeah.
I've only put one person to you, and that is Mr. Nathaniel Masejo, otherwise known as Solly. We're dealing with that.
From Attridgeville. Can you be specific? Because records and really I
asked you if you know Mr. Nathaniel Masejo. Yes, you said yes, you do. You confirmed that he died while he was at Precious Angels.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I've asked you if you went to the family's home. You said no.
Okay. Rephrase that. I thought you were talking about the other patient. With Mr. Solly Mashiho, we went with Dr. Sophie because she's the one that got the details. That's when I cried out that I am tired of breaking the news to the family members. Yes, I have a certificate of doing counseling, but it also drains me as a person. That's when she offered to come with me because they were also in Attridgeville.
So you went to the home?
Yes.
You were accompanied?
By Dr. Sophie.
It was on the 9th September 2016. Does that sound right?
I'm not too sure about the date, but we did go visit.
No recollection which month you went to visit last year to inform the family of the death?
We'll send in relevant documents just to show in that we did go.
Pardon? Can you repeat that? You sent something?
I will send.
You will send?
Yes, because it was.
You don't remember which date you
no.
went? Well, Ms. Motsehwa is going to say that you were there on 9th September and you informed her that her brother, Solly, had passed away on 6 August.
Okay. Yes, counsel, I was with Dr. Sophie from the department.
You remember that?
The date, I do not remember, but yes, we were there.
Do you remember Ms. Motsehwa being unhappy because it had been such a long delay in the passing of her brother being communicated to her?
Yes, the whole family was in tears. The uncle, when they came in, they recognized me because of the daycare and my family and how we render the service at the daycare. They were surprised that how come we didn't get communication while they
No.
knew me from there.
The question was the family unhappy that there was so much delay between the death and your informing them?
Very much unhappy, all of them.
Did you then take them to Precious Angels to see where Solly had been?
They didn't ask to come in. We went to the funeral parlor, which they also knew in.
Ms. Motsekwa is going to say that she did go to Precious Angels because she wanted to see where Solly had been.
Okay.
And she's going to say that it was very dirty, it was very smelly, and unhygienic. What would you say to that? She says that you were there, and she says that she asked you if you were qualified to take care of the residents, and you said you didn't have a qualification, but you had experience.
She mentioned that she went with us to Precious Angels.
Well, I don't know whether she went with you. I'm saying that she visited Precious Angels. This is what she had to say about Precious Angels, what I've just said to
Okay.
you about the conditions. The second thing she says, apart from the conditions, is that she asked you if you were qualified to take care of the residents, and that you said you did not have a qualification, but that you had experience
Okay.
in
I
dealing
think
with.
most of the talkings, we were at her house with Dr. Sophie. And the other proceeding that we did, it's when we went to the funeral parlor to do the identification of the deceased. The one that
I'm
she
going to
said
get
she
there.
went
I'm
with
going to
us,
get
okay.
there. Are you aware of whether the family visited Precious Angels or not?
Maybe they visited after, because the only one family,
You were not there.
sorry,
You were not present when they visited, is what you are saying.
probably the only reason why I wouldn't be there, it's probably maybe when the patient was taken away from Precious Angels and there was nobody there. Probably that's when she might have went. But
And-
me being with her at the premises, no.
And do you recall whether Ms. Motsekwa asked you about your qualifications?
If she can also confirm with whom was around, was it just me and her, or patients as well, and
Did she
caregivers,
ask
or-
you? Do you not recall that she asked you about your qualifications? Are you saying you were never asked?
With my background and qualifications, I always stated whenever I meet the family members. But on the day that she says we went to the house,
Yes.
I didn't go with her to the house. We were at her house with Dr. Sophie and other family members.
Okay, let's move on. Is it correct that you had taken Solly's body to a funeral parlor called Put You to Rest?
That's correct, Council?
Where is that funeral parlor?
In Outridgeville.
Where exactly in Attridgeville?
Just after our library, Malibia or...
Do you know the street name?
Yes, no, the street name is just at the curve, but it's in an area where all the palaces are situated in Outridgeville.
Did you accompany the family to the funeral parlor?
Yes, we went. All of the deceased patients, only one that I couldn't make it to accompany the family members, but with all of them, I accompanied the family members.
So you accompanied the family to the
Yes,
funeral parlor?
Yes, Council.
All of the residents at Precious Angels who died in your care, were all of them transferred to this funeral parlor, Put You to Rest?
Yes, Council.
All of them?
All of them.
Is there a particular reason why you used this funeral parlor?
When one patient started dying at our center, I approach, going back to the statement I made earlier on, I approach a family funeral. It's not a family, it's a family friend, but knowing how we operate as at daycare.
The question is, why did you use
Put you to
put
rest.
you to rest?
Oh, it's because we explained the situation that we were facing with the department, and they were helping.
You explained to the funeral parlor.
Yes,
What situation were you facing with the department?
with the deceased, where we need to the patients needed to be at the parlor, because every parlor they charge you for it, but we asked and explained that because it happened in a home, can they keep the deceased until the family members are found, and they would do all the necessary documents in terms of
You said to me that all of the residents of Precious Angels who died were sent to put you to rest.
Not
And
all
I
of
ask
them.
you,
Not all of them. Others died at the hospitals. In hospitals.
okay, well, earlier when I asked you, were all of them sent to put you to rest, you said yes. My question was, why did you use put you to rest
Okay.
as a funeral?
There's patients who passed, the ones that passed on at the home, they have been taken by a private undertaker. Those whom have passed on in hospitals, they were in hospitals.
We're going to
Why?
need every time we need to save time and just listen to questions so that you can deal with them, and that will shorten also your stay in the box. The question is, and it's often helpful if you just go and listen to the question and answer it only. I don't try and anticipate future questions
All right, Judge.
or perhaps be defensive or over-explanatory.
Okay.
The question is quite tight and narrow. Why did you use put you to rest as the undertaker for people who died in your facility?
Because
They agreed to give you credit. You liked them, you liked their name, they were nice. I mean, there might be a reason,
Okay.
and council wants to extract that reason. What is it?
okay, it's the with put you to rest. They agreed that they would assist us on a credit because of the backlog that we haven't been paid, and we do not have family members to contact, and they are family friend of ours. That's why they would assist in, and
Okay,
Wait,
that's fine, thank you. You said earlier that you explained to them the problem you are having with the department. Are you speaking in relation to the not being paid, the issue of not being paid?
inclusive with contacts of family members.
Okay.
And that's why I also had to do an affidavit stating that every delay that has been on our side, it's due to certain reasons.
Does Put You to Rest have a storage facility for corpses?
Not clued up with that, but they have storages in different regions. But the one that we use is the one in Outreachville.
You said that those residents who died in your facility were taken to Put You to Rest,
Yes.
funeral parlor. Were there storage facilities for corpses at Put You to Rest?
Outreachville, yes.
At the Put You to Rest funeral parlor?
Yes. Some are only discovered after the delay. They had to transfer other patients to, I think it's Rankua or Hammanskraal, also because we were delaying in terms of finding patients, and their services also needed to be rendered, but they had to make provision while waiting.
So Ms. Mosego is going to tell us that there was that they did not find Solly at Put You to Rest. They were taken by you and a Mr. Mtimunye to another mortuary in Salisbury.
Mr. Mtimunye is the owner of Put You to Rest.
Yes.
Yes.
So can you confirm for me whether it's correct?
It is
you
correct.
and Mr.
It is correct.
It is correct. So you went to a different mortuary.
It's not a different mortuary, it's their facility.
So you didn't have to leave the funeral parlor to go to the mortuary?
The funeral parlor, it's an office that has, they have an office where we were receiving family members. It's an office, and their storage, it's still in Atteridgeville, where they keep the corpse. We drove with them to show them where the corpse
Where was
were.
that?
Yes.
Where
Sorry?
was that
In
mortuary?
Atteridgeville still.
And do you recall what happened after that? So that you arrived at the mortuary. And Ms. Moseko is going to say that she then had to go in and identify her brother. Is that correct?
Yes, counsel.
Have you ever been inside the mortuary?
Only on that day.
Did you accompany Ms. Moseko into the mortuary when she had to find her brother?
Yes, counsel.
And Ms. Moseko is going to say that she had to look through piles of bodies, that there were bodies that were stacked, and she had to then identify her brother, and he was in between two other people. What do you say to that?
I object. It's not true.
It's
in
not
terms
true.
Of, I went in with her and the sister and the owner to also verify that the very same person, it's the same that was at our center.
Yes.
Step by step, were there many bodies?
No, there wasn't many bodies. The storage. Remember when you go and ask for a certain body, they remove them from a deep freezer where they've been held, stored, and for you to identify, that's when they bring him with a stretcher for you to identify. Like, you know, in hospitals, you have those layers of.
No, but why are we going where? The first question that probably has to be ascertained is, were there many bodies in this mortuary? What is the answer? Then we're going to go to how was this particular body identified?
No, they wasn't, because they had to bring him from the fridge to be identified. Obviously, he was in a fridge with the other deceased.
No, but were you and the family member let into a room which
yes.
had many bodies?
No, counsel.
So they brought one after another until you got to the correct body?
They only sent out the first one. It wasn't him, and then they looked on the rest. Then we all identified that was the correct.
They brought this one body out to be identified.
Yes.
Anyway, we're drowning in detail, counsel. Where are we going?
Well,
why do we need all this detail?
The detail is very important because it speaks to the evidence that's going to come later by the family.
But can we put the evidence to her so she responds to it?
Yes. That's... Ms. Ncube, you are saying that there was only one body that was brought out.
Yes.
That body was The body of Soli Masehu,
Yes, Council.
the very first one that was brought out, was
The
identified and, yeah? It's just yes or no.
No. Then they had to, we did confirm that it's not him. Then when they brought in Mr. Soli, that's when they showed.
So he was the second body that was brought out.
Yes.
And who identified the first body?
It was all of us, we were there. Myself
Including
and
the
the
family
two
member.
sisters, yes.
Thank you. The second witness that will be testifying later is Ms. Christine Romalo. Do you know Virginia Machapela?
Yes, I do, Council.
She died on 15 August 2016. Is that right?
I don't have the file, but I presume all of the details are correct, Council.
Do you remember, what do you remember about Virginia? Do you remember whether she had her ID book? And
Okay,
yeah.
with Sister Virginia, we had just a summary of her background, and I remember there was also, she was also assessed by our therapist and so forth, and we were also struggling to get, she's one of the patients that came from Anchor House, was transferred from Anchor House to us. And then I remember the department were also assisting us to get the contact details of the family members. Then eventually when we got them, Dr. Sophie has called me and said, here's the details. That was after she has passed on and after I have made an affidavit of request of contact details for the family members.
Okay.
Then I had to, should I continue, Council?
No,
Okay.
let me try to keep this focused. Ms. Machapela died on 15 August 2016. Did you, was it you who called her family to inform the family of her death?
Yes, Council, as I got the details from
And
Dr.
on what
Sophie.
date did you call the family?
Can't remember, but evidence it's there in terms of calling.
Do you remember that there was a delay between the passing of Ms. Machapela and informing the family?
A very big gap, and I was making follow-ups as well in terms of finding the contact details.
And what was the reaction of the family when you informed them?
At first, it was shocking, sad, which is understandable, and as we spoke along with Mom Christine, we spoke about it shouldn't have happened because it could have been prevented in a way because she had the ability, we're talking now in terms of stimulations, in terms of the therapy, in terms of her response to our programs of letting her needs known through our gestures that we use in. I had to explain to Mom Christine over the phone and how she responded as well to the Legos that we used to ensure that her mind is kept stimulated with all the services that we render. She also mentioned
How did
that...
Ms. Machapela die?
Can I just finish on that side? She also mentioned that she would also take initiations to take her to therapy and OTs for stimulations when she had her at her house for holidays. Then it was like we connected of what I was talking and what she was also doing as an extra mile while she was still at Esidimeni. And she also mentioned
As
that
a what? Sorry?
at Life Esidimeni. She also mentioned that there wasn't any physios, OTs, stimulation programs that were given to her sister, and she had to pay out from her own personal money to ensure that she gets such. That's the relation that we got when we were talking. And
I asked you how the family reacted to the news of the death. I didn't ask you about Legos and the stimulation therapy.
okay,
But I did also ask you, how did Ms. Machapela die?
Okay, on the report with caregivers, they've also mentioned that it was just after I think breakfast in, and with the morning sessions that we have in, if I'm not mistaken, but the records of all process was given, and the EMS was called in to do an inspection first. Then,
So how did she die again? How did she die?
she died out of natural causes, as per EMS report and investigation, and the report that we have from the morning till. That's why we also said, in terms of any postmortems, they are more than welcome to allocate, because even the daughter
Was
once
a
came in.
post-mortem conducted?
Yes, it was conducted. The results are still not yet back in, and all the evidence and affidavits have been given in. We're still waiting on.
Given to whom?
Given to the. They're still at the police.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Do you know the name Daniel Charles Josiah?
Yes. Council, can I just add on the findings as well? We found out that the daughter of Miss Virginia once visited our center, and she once also fed her during her visitation in the interim.
She fed her.
Yes, you remember when we also mentioned that whenever family members would come in, because of everything that was happening, we would say, please fill. They always had the privilege to come and see how everything we conduct, and the carers, they are the ones that will testify in terms of the visitation, and even herself, probably she can be on the stand and be asked if she was once present at Precious Angel's home to see her mother, and was given an opportunity to see if she is able to eat. And
You're talking
all
about
the
the daughter?
Yes.
So are you aware that the daughter has since passed away?
It's since when?
In the last week?
I wasn't aware, but present on that time she came in. That's what I'm saying with, I'm sorry on that note, but I didn't know. And with the visitation, hopefully on the visitor's book, it's there. And
So the family
caregivers,
did visit. Is there a point that the family visited Virginia?
according to the caregivers and the records that we have in, that she once came in.
She once,
Yes.
only once is what you're saying?
Yes, council.
She was only visited once?
Yes, council. The evidence will be calling out those caregivers, and would also look for necessary documents in terms of the visitor's book.
The family will testify in contradiction of that, to say that they did visit more regularly.
All right, Doctor.
If I may move on
Yes, council.
to Daniel Charles Josiah.
Yes, council.
Was he one of your residents?
Yes, council.
And he passed away on 8 September 2016.
Dates will be verified. I believe so, council.
The sister of Charles, I'm going to refer to him as Charles, will be coming to testify about her experience. What is relevant for the purposes of your testimony is that although he passed away on 8 September 2016, the family was only informed on 20th September 2016. Do you recall the delay in this gap again, date of death, and then the date on which the family is informed? Do you recall this delay when you informed the family?
Council, with the dates, there was a delay. That's why we were resourcing out the contact details of the family members and made personal provisions of getting them. And with what you have on your papers with ours, I believe they would be the same. So the answer is
there was
yes,
a delay.
there was a delay.
And your explanation for the delay. So 8 September, Charles passed away. Family was not informed until 20th September. Why is that?
Still with evidence of not having family contact numbers, with police being involved to locate their family members, together with Dr. Sophie being our coordinators in ensuring that we receive those communications, are there as evidence.
Did you contact the facility, Life Esidimeni, to find out what the details were of the family members of the residents?
There was a time where I initially, because we were still waiting from our side, there was a contact where, the point where I contacted with the social worker that we used to sign the IDs when we went in, and they've sent out an email of contact details. Some of them had it, and the others we didn't. Their numbers were not working, and evidence will be produced as well on that in terms of emails and calls and efforts that we took.
I'm going to move along. Do you know Christopher Makhoba?
Yes, Council.
Was Christopher Makhoba a resident at Precious Angels?
Yes, Council.
Did Christopher die on 3rd July 2016? Do you remember?
The date, I'm not quite sure, but evidence we have and yours should collaborate.
Ms. Pangela, Elizabeth Pangela, is a sister of Christopher. She will be coming to testify in these hearings.
Okay.
She will say that she received a call from you on 15 July to inform her of the death of Christopher. Is that correct?
Okay, yes, it is. The dates still collaborate, but I did call in.
You did call. He died on 3rd July 2016. The witness will say that you called her on 15 July 2016. Can you explain the delay?
Delay still refers back to contact details of family members. Evidence will be sent out as well.
So you say you had no contact details
Yes,
for
Council.
Christopher's family?
Yes, Council.
The witness will say that you advised that Christopher would be buried and that you would be sending her the invoice. Do you recall this?
When she called in, when I called her, she explained, no, I did explain what happened. And coming from the conversation, it was we wanted to clarify if she will be able to bury, or should we ask for assistance for her to bury, as we got contact of her, and if she doesn't have maybe like the policies or funeral policies, we would ask for assistance for her to bury her loved one, which is called indigent burial.
It's called indigent burial.
Yes, that's what I learned throughout this process with our local municipality, where I knocked in with the same cry out of saying there's families whom are not found, even those that we may find because they haven't been in contact with them for
It's
a
going
while.
to help
Okay.
all of us if you just answer the question that's put to you.
Sorry, Council. Sorry, Judge.
Did you
Please.
advise Ms. Pangela that you would make the burial arrangements and send her a receipt after?
Not a receipt, but I did confirm to her if she would need assistance of burial, which they will be able to provide coffin, food, and she would state where would she want the funeral be held. Even cars would be also offered on that
And whose
indigent.
cost would all that be?
The municipality, it's a program that in Outreachville that they have for families that they can't afford to bury their loved ones. A social
Anyway,
worker
answer the
comes in.
question. Did you tell her that you'll send an invoice after all that or not?
Not an invoice, but if she needed assistance of burying, should we arrange that for her?
Okay.
Okay. Did they accept your offer?
She said she'll come back to me.
Did you make the burial arrangements for Christopher?
No, I didn't, because when she came back
Was it the family who
yes, who said no. She said
Did
she'll
the
find out from the other
family-
sisters
Did the
and will come back to me.
Okay. Finally, Ms. Pangela is going to say to this hearing that she went back to Precious Angels to try to retrieve Christopher's belongings, but she found it closed. Are you aware of this?
She didn't mention when she would go, but on various occasions, she would call in, always asking me how it happened and everything. I would say the very statement, and then she would even
Did she
offered.
ask you for Christopher's belongings? Did she say she would like to retrieve his
Yes,
belongings?
even to do a ritual. I said she's more than welcome to do so, as
Did
the
you-
Christian do those. But
Did you have you returned Christopher's belongings to the family?
no. It went with all the when it was closed. Every resources that we had, it went with it was discarded, and then the only. Remember, they also came in with one pair of
So
clothes.
you're saying
We had
his
to clothe them.
belongings were discarded?
The belongings of all the patients
Yes.
were in a drum of where,
A drum.
yes, with all the when they were packing to move patients on the very same interim. That's when
What
it happened.
were Christopher's belongings returned to the family?
No.
Ms. Ngube, are you familiar with the laws that govern your center as a center that's licensed to provide these services?
Yes, Council.
In your view, having had sight now of the license, the one that is called ELAH 26, the one that was signed by Dr. Salabano and has the address as Kalafong Hospital, and having had sight of the other license signed by Dr. Manamela with Linwood Road as the address, do you consider those to be proper licenses?
In a way, yes.
You testified You testified earlier, it's my last question, you testified earlier that you believe that the patients at Precious Angels were well taken care of. Am I right?
Very on the highest, our level best that we did in, yes.
Would you be satisfied if one of your family received that level of care?
On my side, I would say, besides the medical condition, without the medical condition, without being notified, without being inducted to the facility where our loved ones were being taken care of, and together with the family members that also kept on coming to our centers, even if they heard that there were a lot of deceased at our center, but still kept their loved ones. That trust, that motive that made them still say, we are leaving still our loved ones in your hands, even if you have a...
Did any of the family members complain to you about what they were witnessing, what they observed regarding the care of their family of their relatives?
It was compliments.
Only compliments.
With complaints, it will only be of when are we moving? Are they still going to be changing to another NGO and so forth? And they would, even if when we do the movement, they would come with us, even if when they do visitations to their loved ones.
I'm trying to wrap up my testimony. It's quite hard. Your testimony. You've said in some detail in your testimony how difficult it was for you because the department reneged on their commitments to you to provide the support and the resources that you required in order to care for the mental health care users, which made it difficult for you to an extent where you had to source food, linen, bed linen, nappies, and so on your own steam. Am I right?
Yes, Council.
And you say that did not impact those difficulties that were put in your way by the department, did not impact on the level of care you were able to provide.
They also came in at a later stage, helping us with those necessary resources.
At the time when they were not assisting you, you've testified already.
Yes,
I don't want to go back to
yes,
that. You've said how hard, because they were not providing you with any assistance, financial or otherwise.
Yes.
During that time, did it not have an impact on the level of care you were able to provide to the patients?
We did our level best, Council.
Did it impact on the level of care you were able to provide?
Slightly, but it wasn't to a satisfaction where we would wanted to be without other supports.
So it was only slightly?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ngube. That's all from me, Justice Masaneke.
Okay, thank you, Counsel. Excuse me. Are you sad at all that so many people died under your care?
Pardon, just?
Are you sad that so many people died under your care?
Sad is an understatement. I never got counseling. And
Sorry, can we give the witness a chance, please?
It was a first. Someone died under my care for the past 6.5 years. Knowing trainings of counseling, I had to apply it on people who are elder than me, mothers, angry family members, which I understand. with no support, somebody holding their hand, explaining their part. I had to play my part from the responsibilities I took from day one. Family members would come angry, and after explaining throughout, they would encourage and motivate with the courage and the services that we render. If only we could have other support as it's needed, and with all the communication, the basics of communication, the basics of reporting, the basics of visits, and it's not an easy journey, even now.
Has the department ever come to you and explained why they placed you in such a difficult position?
None of the MEs.
Please answer the question. We're going
No.
to move on to another advocate. I just want to know whether the department ever came to you and said, Ms. Ngube, we're so sorry. We placed people in your hands under difficult circumstances, and 23 of them died. Did they do that?
No, Judge.
Did you ever go to them and say, why did you place me in these difficult circumstances?
The only meeting where they get to talk to me is when we have meetings, and whenever I cry out on spot, that's when.
Now, did you tell them how saddened you are as you are crying now about the deaths that occurred in your hands?
On the second patient that passed on, I literally went and asked for an urgent assessment because I couldn't bear one body under my care.
Had you insured any of the people who died under your care?
There is no insurance that I have. I only have debts with Put You to Rest of storing them and all the other expenses.
Did you insure any of the people who are under your care?
No.
Insuring against the risk of their death?
No,
or
there's no
costs of their
policy.
burial?
No, there is none.
You did not?
No.
Counsel?
I don't even have
Okay,
the
okay.
SASA grants.
You've answered the question. Thank you. Advocate Krause.
Thank you, Justice. Ms. Ngube, just one thing, can I just ask you, the 9 females that came to you, that's your third intake, when was that?
Around June, July
2016.
2016, yes, Council.
Okay, you kept on referring to evidence that you're going to provide the arbitration. What are you speaking about?
I was speaking about the condition, everything that has been said that it's not true on the findings from the report on Ombudsman and from...
Okay, can I just stop you there? How are you going to provide this?
It's emails.
No, how are you going to provide it? To who are you going to provide this?
The office here, we have already said in that we will email it through, made it available to the public or whoever that needs to see it.
If I could then just start off my questions to you. You said you were registered as an NGO on about the 9th of June 2016.
Yes,
Is that
Council.
correct?
Yes, Council.
Are you sure of that date?
Yes, Council.
And you were registered with the Department of, in terms of the Mental Health Care Act, you say in April 2016. Is
That's
that what
the
you say?
license for mental health. Yes, Council.
And you're referring to the document ELAH 26 for that date. Is that true?
That's the licensing. Yes, Council.
Yes. But we have the Ombuds report, and that specific license was only signed after his investigation. He makes mention of that in his report, and that was after December 2016. Do you agree with that?
Yes, Counsel.
So this certificate, which you are trying to tell the court came in April, the arbitration in April 2016, actually came after December 2016. Do you agree with me? Just yes or no?
Yes, Counsel.
So you weren't quite honest when you said it's in April 2016.
The evidence have already, it's already circulating to all the council. Everything that I've said, I have produced.
Ma'am, what I'm putting to you is this certificate by Dr. Esidimeni, which you handed up and said this was given to you in April 2016. You only received it after December 2016.
We have the one of Dr. Manamela that we have been using throughout. That one, the one that was signed by Dr. Manamela, it's the one that we have been using from being licensed.
That, ma'am? When
Sorry?
did you receive Dr. Malamela's?
It's the same date on.
Yes, we know on which date these documents were signed, ma'am. I'm asking you, when did you receive it? It's not a difficult question.
2016, around 2016, at the office at the Department of Mental Health. That's when they explained it was supposed to be signed by Chief, not Dr. Manamela.
Okay, was it after August or before August?
I think it was after.
After August, okay. Thank you. And your server provider contract,
Yes.
that was only signed after, in August 2017, is that correct?
The date.
I put it to you, the document says that. Do you agree with me?
Of the contract.
Yes.
I'll just the date which was submitted to us. It was after.
I'm saying it was signed in August 2016. Do you agree with that?
Can I just check the date with me on our
Can I
contract?
leave you to check it at
Okay.
a later day, at a later stage? So I'm going to move off the registrations now. I'm going to move.
Just before you do, Counsel, let me just clarify one thing for my own sake. Were you ever issued with a license that related to the premises where you actually operated?
No, Judge.
Both
Both NGOs.
in
No.
Attridgeville and or in
Danville.
Danville?
No, Judge.
You have no license for either of them.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. You may proceed, Counsel.
Thank you, judges. Might I just let us just clarify this? Can you go to file 6 there with you?
Thank you.
Have you got file 6?
Yes, Counsel.
Could you please go to page 2138?
Yes, Counsel.
Is that your signature on the page, on the service level agreement?
Yes, Counsel.
And what is the date?
18 August.
It's actually 16 August.
Oh, 16 August
Yes.
2016.
So do you accept that your service agreement was only signed in August 2016?
Why I wasn't certain, it's the dates. We can't keep record of the dates. That's why I have to
you're
refer
more
in.
than...
Yes.
I'm just asking, are you now accepting?
Yes, Counsel.
Okay, can I then just move on off the registration? You were told that Life Esidimeni is being closed. You said somewhere in 2015. Is that right?
Yes, Counsel.
At that stage, you had nothing in place to accept any patients. Do you agree? In 2015.
We were busy with 2015, yes, Council.
And you then decided, but this is something you're going to take up. Do you agree with me?
Partially, Council. Oh, yes, Council.
Thank you. Then, in the 23rd of June 2016, you thought that you were going to get children, but you didn't get children. You got males, and you got them 21 males. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Council.
At that stage, you didn't have a registration for a license. Do you agree with me?
The license was there, Council.
No, you only received the license is dated April, but you didn't have a license. You agreed with me earlier.
We had the one that was signed by Dr. Manamela when we got the patients.
Ma'am, you agreed with me earlier that you only received that after August.
All right, Council. Yes, Council.
So at that stage, you were not registered. Do you agree with me?
Is it fine if we clarify the licensing?
I know this is a difficult case and emotional, but let's try please not to heckle the witness. Every witness must be entitled to a free passage to give their evidence, whether we like it or not. Please, let's just continue to show that respect.
Could
Counsel.
please. Yes. Ma'am, the question is, at that stage when you received the 21 patients, you did not have the license yet. That's according to your own evidence.
This is the evidence. That's why I say evidence, it will be given. You tell us the dates that we need to confirm in. On the 1st of April 2016, we got the license signed by Dr. Manamela. We were using this license throughout. At a later stage, after the investigation, it was declared that Dr. Manamela was not supposed to sign. The chief was supposed to sign. Then these licenses were handed out to all the NGOs. This is what I'm talking about when I say evidence.
Okay. So your earlier evidence that you only received that document in August, that was wrong then? Is that what you're saying to this
Yes,
auditor?
because I received it in April before operating.
Okay. And when you received these 21 patients, you didn't have a service level agreement with the department. Are we in agreement of that?
The license, okay, before obtain.
Now listen to the question and answer it, please. Let's save some time. When you received the patients, you did not have a service level agreement.
We had, Council.
Can I ask you why you say this?
Before being given a license, you need to send out your contract, your business plan, everything that needs to be sent to the department.
To the question, Ms. Ngube, service level agreement. We've been there already. You signed on the 16th of August 2016. Look at page 2138. Council then says, from this it is obvious that when you received the 21 males into your facility, you had not concluded or signed a service level agreement. What is your answer to that?
I would say yes, Judge.
Yeah, it's obvious, just by looking at the papers. Proceed, Council.
Thank you, Justice Musaneke. So that meant that when you received these papers without a service level agreement, you fairly well knew that you won't be paid immediately. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Council.
Okay. And then the first death that the Ombuds discovered was that of Christopher Makoba that you were referred to earlier. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Council.
And that was on the 3rd of July 2016, a few days later, after taking the 21 patients. Do you
yes,
agree?
Council.
That stage, you didn't have a service level agreement. You're not getting in any money. Do you agree with me?
Can I just refer before answering? Can you just rephrase your question?
Yes, I'll repeat my question. My question is, you received the first 21 patients on the 23rd of June 2017. The first patient at your center died on the 3rd of July 2016.
Yes, Council.
And at that stage, you didn't have any income from the department. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Council.
You didn't have any SASSA grant income. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Council.
Yet you say 2 weeks after the 23rd, after Mr. Christopher Makoba has died, you take in another 15 patients.
Yes, Council.
Why?
Okay. It was through the criteria that was sent out to assist in that period of time until we will be catering for our exact.
Now the question is
Honored.
quite direct. Why did you take more patients in, even though one had already died
It's
on the 3rd of July?
the officials were emphasizing on NGO to assist for the department, and with them continuing being supportive, partially still.
Ma'am, what you are saying is that you were pressurized into receiving more patients, knowing full well you couldn't cope with the first bunch? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Council, we've always stipulated our cry out, and they've always came back with positive and assuring statement of such support. And at a later stage, they did deliver the support, even though a lot of people have passed on, and the suffering, the loans that we're in and everything.
And thereafter, with still no subsidy, still no SASSA grants, you take in another 9 patients. Is that so?
Yes, Council.
And why was that?
It was always a reason of being said, you work with certain criteria, we are at the crisis, the MEC and the chief, they are in a crisis, everybody's in need of assisting with.
What were you hoping to get out of this?
On my side, personally, it's running a service to my best ability from the experience and the day-to-day services that we're rendering to intellectual severe, profound, which we know they end up being better on their condition, making a difference on one that cannot do for themselves, while we have other support system besides the department.
You're going to kill us with many words, man. You really are going to. Look, the question is, we all are concerned and wondering why you did this. And that's the question. Why did you do what you did?
All right. I would say in one sentence.
Your religion required it. You wanted to make money. you wanted to, I don't know, but there must be some driver. And that is the question that council is putting to you. Let's get there. Let's get to the substance.
Okay. With the reason why I continued still is to gain experience on how to expand with the current organization, because at the end, our children, they are moving forth to being elders that I'm introduced into. We also needed to know how to partake in. We went in with a confident of getting support from the department as it grows within.
So
And with also being mentioned that with all the records that we have in would be suitable for such, and also the pressure that the department had with Anchor House and the MECs and everybody that had to cater.
you wanted to gain experience to grow your organization. Is that part of what you're saying?
Partially, besides being pressurized, I was at my pace, I was doing that.
Yes. And
Now, the department, when they know within the business plan, they would give that as a reason why, which would be something that you would say, okay, such pressure.
money-wise, did that go through your thoughts, that you would make some money out of this?
It's, to some of us, it's not about money. It's about making a difference in a disabled person, advocating for those who cannot advocate for themselves, and ensuring the little ability that it's there to be enhanced and to be accepted by communities as much as they accept our children, and also to bring out the least that it's still there in
Remember
our
my
criteria.
request. It is put to you that, did you do this for money?
No, Council.
Yes, I think that should be the answer. And there might be questions to follow up, yeah.
Thank you very much. Can I ask you,
Are you done with the money part of it?
I am,
Well, let me ask two questions about the money. You told us that once the paperwork was done, you were paid approximately 100,000 rand a month.
Yes, Council.
When you were paid, was your initial payment inclusive of the arrears, the 3 months arrears?
Yes, Council.
So you would have received an amount in the vicinity of what, of 300,000 rand
Yes, Council.
the first time around. And did the 100,000 rand continue to flow in your directions up to around October when your operation was shut down?
Yes, it flowed and we had to backdate.
Yes.
Areas?
But you received monthly 100,000 rand through to the point where the Premier's office and the task team setup came to shut down your operation.
Yes, until even this January.
Up to January.
January and February, we were still taking care of the patients. January, we're still taking
And
care of
you're
the
still
patient.
being paid.
We didn't get paid. We have submitted, but it wasn't paid. We had to protest, and
But you were paid regularly from,
the previous months.
yes,
Yes,
from
yes,
June
Council.
right through to which month? To December of 2016?
Yes, Council.
Yeah, is that right? Okay. With that amount, did you make any profit?
No, Council. No, Judge, sorry. Why? Because the department
In other
also,
words, was the amount in excess of your expenses?
it is not, because it's backdate, and it's still the month's usage, and working with diapers, it's just another expense, and
Okay, listen to the question. It needs a short answer. I want to know whether every time you receive 100,000 rand a month, was that amount in excess of your monthly expenses?
it went to backdates, but we received it monthly.
No, but was it more than your expenses? Did you end
Yes,
up?
yes, it
Yes.
was more than the
No,
expenses.
it was more than your expenses. And when you received more patients, was the amount also increased?
No, counsel. No, Judge.
Why not?
It was a minimum amount that was stipulated, and together with the SASA, they mentioned that the SASA grants will be assisted on, and
No, but in actual fact, as the numbers under your care increased, did the amount increase
If
from
it-
the base of 100,000?
yes, counsel, meaning that the 100,000, I'm adding all patients that we got in total, the 58, 59, and then as they decrease, you didn't put on under claim. If a person deceased, you don't claim for that person.
Now, after all said
It
and
decreased.
done, now that we all become wiser, after the event, all of us,
Yes,
we
Counsel.
evaluate what happened in the past, and then you say, oh, I was stupid, or oh, I was smart, or oh, I was moved by money. No, I was moved by my religion. No, I was moved by love for other people. What do you say moved you to want to look after 58 people with a variety of disabilities?
It still moves me because I am catering for a profound disabled daughter, and catering for 20 intellectual severe and profound children, which we want them to have a home at the end. We are building a legacy for them to have.
I'm not asking about children.
Okay.
I'm asking about the 58 people
Okay.
you are looking after. And I truly empathize with your position as a parent who had a disabled child to look after. You've got my empathy. I'm struggling to understand what moved key people in this terrible tragedy, and why they did what they did. That is what I'm trying to get at. So I'm trying to get you to find strength in yourself to tell all of us why
I wanted
you
to make a
took on
difference.
all these patients.
Okay, I wanted to make a difference with the support that has been catered from Life Esidimeni workers and the department as well.
Counsel.
Thank you, Justice. Ma'am, I'm going to take you to when you fetched the patients for the first time.
Yes, counsel?
Who fetched them the first time, the first 21?
Myself and the caregiver.
And a caregiver. Are either of you medically trained?
No, counsel?
Did you receive any medical files?
No, counsel?
You said that you received some notes with the patients.
With contact details, and some had with summary of patients, and it was those who had IDs, we received the IDs. Those who are on epilim medication, we received those medication, as we are servicing intellectual profound disability.
And you received some medication.
Yes, counsel.
I'm not clear, how much medication? Was it for 4 weeks? Was it for, 8 weeks? Was it for 28 weeks? I'm not sure how much you received.
I would estimate 28 weeks with, yes, let me just
4
answer.
months. 4
I'll
months
just answer
work.
in.
Sorry?
I would say estimate with 28 weeks or so.
And who dispense the medicine to the patients?
The caregivers, because it's epilim.
Are they qualified to dispense medicine?
We, with the check, the professional nurse would just check if the routine we're still doing accordingly and the records.
My question is, the caregivers, were they qualified to dispense medicine?
It's, no.
And you knew this?
Yes, counsel.
And why did you allow it?
With the criteria that we have, we also service at home. We are not trained to give epilim or any other disability medication. The problem lies with the other criteria. And then why we also ensured that it's in place, that's when we asked the professionals just to keep on coming and checking the vitals and if everything is in record.
We'll get back to the professional nurse. You said some of them did not have ID documents when you,
Yes, counsel.
when you received them. How did you identify them?
Okay, from taking the first that we went, they had pictures with date of birth, and that summary that also stipulates the background on a user's.
And their diagnosis?
The diagnosis also were mentioned. Evidence is also there.
And are you qualified to read or to interpret a diagnosis?
No counsel.
Okay, let us just move on to the medicine. When the medicine eventually ran out, did you replace it?
Yes, counsel, and we were also waiting from the department side.
Where did you get the medicine?
The basic ones like your asthma fund, I went to a private clinic.
I'm talking about psychiatric medicine.
We are unable to know those. We wait up on the department. They would come in and...
So you couldn't replace that?
We couldn't replace. They needed to be
And you
brought in.
you didn't replace those?
It was replaced, counsel.
Were there any break in the taking of that medication?
A day, I wouldn't want to give like and say how many days and so forth, because immediately when we send out a script, the department coordinators would come in, make follow-ups to be speeded up, because it's a lot of organizations that had backlog.
My question is, was there any disruption in the medication?
Partially, counsel.
My learned friend asked you the same question, you said no. Remember that?
Yes, counsel.
Why was that?
As I was explaining that with probably a difference, it would be a day, or that's why I would say records of medication are there.
You now said that you send out a script. How does that work?
The department, we give in with the script that was given from Life Esidimeni, and after, that's when the coordinators from the department came in to do an assessment.
So are you saying you not only got medicine from Life Esidimeni, you also got scripts?
No, the scripts were made by the what do you call it, by the department's group in, and the scripts that we had, it was those who were on epilim and
Ma'am, I'm
other
just
medication.
sorry to interrupt. I'm just trying to establish who was the doctor that gave these scripts?
The scripts that we submit, it was still from Life Esidimeni.
So did you receive the scripts from Life Esidimeni? Is that what you're saying?
It's not a script, it shows the medication and the dosage within. And the department, when they came in, they showed us a prescription that we should use when asking for medication.
So are you saying that the department gave you scripts without seeing your patients based on what was in the Life Esidimeni?
Yes, from the
file?
beginning.
And what did you do with the scripts?
We had to send it to the district pharmacy where they would obtain medication.
Are you sure that happened?
Pardon?
Are you sure that that happened?
Evidence it's there is we were the one that was collecting.
Did you collect it from the primary clinic?
From the district.
From the district
From the
clinic?
district pharmacy. After the assessment by the department.
And if this arbitration calls one of those people, they will say they gave you this medicine.
Come again, counsel?
Somebody from that clinic will come and say they gave you the medicine because they had that type of medicine with them?
Yes, counsel.
Can I just ask you, and I'm very nearly finished, you had staff at both the houses. I'm not talking about your daycare center.
Yes, please.
You had staff at both of them.
Both.
Full-time staff? Which staff did you have? Let's start at your first house.
Both we had day.
No, let's start at your first house.
Okay. We had day and night staff.
What staff did you have at the first house?
We had caregivers, a cleaner, and those Life Esidimeni workers that came in and out, but of which they left. The ones that we remained with, it was caregivers and home-based carers.
Okay. So are you saying that your full-time staff were caregivers
And home-based carers.
and a home-based carer and a cleaner?
And the cooker and the security. And we, with professional nurse, she was assisting us because she is fully employed. She was just assisting us with no remuneration.
Ma'am, I'm talking about full-time staff. I'm only
Yes.
trying to establish. So those were your full-time
Yes,
staff?
counsel.
You didn't have, for instance, an OT?
OTs, it's the ones that we were, OTs.
On full-time staff, ma'am?
On full-time staff, no, it was
Thank you.
the
Do you
municipalities that
Did you have
came.
a physio on full-time staff?
Pardon?
Did you have a physio on full-time staff?
No counsel.
Did you have a doctor or a psychiatrist?
No counsel.
Didn't have any nurses on full-time staff?
No counsel. Can I support the statement or?
What was your daily involvement
Okay.
at the house?
At the house, I would go in on daily basis, check if there is the carers, even myself, sometimes I would transport in so that they are able to relieve the others and give reports, know what the program for the day, how it's, if there's any urgent hiccups that I can run with during the day. And then I would, on both centers, and still go source out, like with the programs
Yes,
needs.
ma'am, my question is just, what was your daily involvement in house number 1?
Management.
For how long were you there every day?
It's an hour
Okay.
daily basis and night.
Sorry?
I would go probably once or twice on daily basis.
And that would be an hour.
Yes.
Now, tell us, how many caregivers did you have in house number 1?
It's 2, 4. We had 4, and then depending on the shift of if it's a day shift or it's a night shift, and then we'd have also 5 with the cleaner and the cooker and the security guard.
So you're saying that are you saying that you had 5 people in the house during the day?
Yes.
And at night?
It would be less of, it would be like 4 to 5 within.
Okay. Were your patients in a position to feed themselves?
Yes, council, others had, and the others with, okay, let me answer and let you question.
Were they able to feed themselves?
Some, council,
Okay.
most of them.
Most of them.
Yes, council. And they were talking as well.
If I could just think about that, you didn't have any experience in adults with
Yes,
a
council.
disability that you were given. Is that right?
Yes, council. Adults, no.
And you had no skill in dealing with them.
The criteria, yes.
Let's
but
forget about the criteria. Those
Okay.
people that were given to you, you
Yes,
didn't have
council.
any skill in dealing
yes,
with them.
council.
You didn't have sufficient resources to deal with them. Do you agree with me?
Yes, council.
And you did not have sufficient money overall to pay
Yes,
your staff
council.
even. Was it not irresponsible to take these people?
I would say, I don't know how to put it, but I was hurting as well with the turnout, and it wasn't anticipated.
My question is, with
Responsibility I did take to my level best with everybody that we worked with. We did our level best. I wouldn't say we were irresponsible, because we played our part to our level best.
with no experience, no skill,
Yes, council.
not enough resources, not enough money, is
Yes,
it
council.
not irresponsible to take so many people?
Yes, council.
And is that not perhaps part
Did
of
you
the...
say yes?
The thing is, when you explain...
No, I don't want you to change it. I just want, you said it
No.
softly. I just want to make sure I understood you well.
No. We played our part according to everything that we... that's why I said we were not irresponsible, as we played a huge part from what our level best at. It was just here and there that needed to fill up the puzzle.
Ma'am, why did you say yes to me when I asked you whether you were irresponsible?
I did, at first, I did say we were not irresponsible. We played our level best. We needed either side to fill the support system structure.
Ma'am, can I take you to the report of the department to which you were referred earlier? It's on page 2494, dated 28 July 2016. It was before you moments ago. It's volume 7.
What's the page?
2494, it's the first page of the report. I'm going to refer to later pages.
What's the file number? So still the same one?
7. File 7.
File 7. Two three
2494 is the first page.
Yes, Council.
If you can turn the page to page 2495. At the bottom of that page, the second last bullet. Can you read that, please?
The last sentence.
The second last bullet on the page 2495.
There is no form of reliable patient identification, as there's no either name tags, no identification clothing to identify the patients.
Yes, do you agree with that?
No, Council.
How did you identify the patients to give them their medicine?
There is pictures every patient had, and there is every patient's medication is in. It was in a bag in the medication room, and yes, Council.
Yes, I accept that there were pictures. You said you got them from Live Esidimeni. I'm asking, how did you identify the patients to make sure you give them the right medicine?
It's written on the medication, and it corresponds with the pictures and the person that you give the medication onto.
So you relied on somebody to take a photograph and then decide this is the patient that should get this medicine?
On those that had the medication, there was pictures with the name of the medication, the dosage as well.
Okay. Going to move off
It was labeled.
I'm going to move off from that. If you
Okay.
can turn to page 2494. Do you see the box with paragraph 4 in it? 2496, paragraph 4, the second last box on the page. Do you see
Page
it?
2496.
2496, yes. Do you see that?
Which box?
Box 4.
Yes, Council.
You said quite a bit about Lego. Could you please read the first bullet point under 4?
There is currently no activity scheduled for patients. Some staff members are trained in stimulation of children with special needs and improve to adapt their skills for the adults. They also need assistance in back and pressure parts care for bedridden and spastic patients to avoid further complication of patients already admitted for pressure ulcers.
Could you read the next bullet point, please?
There is no training for medical intervention taking place currently.
The next bullet point.
Individual progress report of each patient are not available.
And the next bullet point.
Patients are kept indoors throughout the day and night. They don't expose to outside environment.
Do you agree with that?
No, Council.
Why not?
There is a program that we do gross motos and fine motos and functions, and on daily basis there would be, and even
Are you
Even-
sure those things happen, seeing that you weren't at the at the house for very long every day?
evidence of pictures and patients, even some other family members, they would also testify to it.
And they were going outside?
Yes, Council.
In terms of paragraph 5, the first bullet says both centres have a centre management and one professional nurse on duty, on day duty, and one sessional professional nurse for night duty. Is that right?
No, Council.
There weren't a professional nurse on day duty.
No, Council.
Thank you. And under 5, the last bullet point says the staff are not trained in first aid techniques. Do you agree with that?
No, Council.
What did you do?
With home-based carers, they have the points of record of what they've been trained on as evidence, and as well, if you were to give a one to testify, if they can conduct one.
Ma'am, can I ask you how would you have done this differently, knowing with what you know now?
Sure. As I said earlier on, I would have prepared completely. We're talking still to the life Esidimeni, right? I would have completely ensured that the proper place has been assigned to, and linen, every resources that we had to loan money from, take from community, and lose a lot of, be in a lot of debts, and induction of the kind of patients being introduced to family members so they know where their loved ones will be, as there's a form that needs to be filled by the very same family members with all the details, and they would also have a copy of our...
The question is, what would you have done differently?
What I would have done differently is...
Would you now again, for instance, believe officials of the department when they say that they are in a crisis?
I wouldn't even hear them this time, Prof. I would... Even, in fact, I had even...
There is a way of introducing you to what are the things that you would do differently now. The one thing is you won't believe them when they say they have a crisis, right?
Yes.
Take our patients who have a crisis.
Would assist.
You won't do that, right?
No.
Okay. What else wouldn't you do again?
What I wouldn't do again is accepting little information, knowing the criteria, and what I'll be also comfortable working with, and not
Would you run a service about which you know nothing?
Not at all, Council.
Relating to lives of 57 people, adults, would you?
Not at all, Council, because I haven't been exposed to such. It is a traumatic experience at this point.
Would you start an operation which is not properly licensed and therefore unlawful? Would you?
No, Council.
Would you start an operation where you have not signed a service level agreement? Would you?
No, Judge.
And would you take care of so many people before you've properly determined the particulars of their family members and where you might find them?
No,
Is
Judge.
this an emergency?
No.
Would you run an operation like this without professional staff, a
No,
nurse, an occupational therapist, a physiotherapist, a doctor, a psychiatrist? Will you do that?
No, Judge, from the bottom of my heart.
Why do you think these people died? After all the answers you've given me now, why did 23 people under your care die?
There wasn't enough relevant parties that would carry the whole marathon.
Yes, thank you for that candor. It took us quite some time to get there. But let me ask you something that a bee in my bonnet. Have the police been to you?
A number of times, Council.
Have they taken warning statements from you as a suspect?
Yes, as a suspect, but they needed statements. I wouldn't say it's a suspect, but
No, after all the deaths. I know you have
Yes.
been to the police a few times
Yes.
to make affidavits
yes,
in order to ascertain identities
Yes.
of patients. You
Yes.
see, I've been listening to you the whole day.
yes, Judge.
I'm asking you a different question. Have members of the South African Police Service come to you to say that they are investigating the deaths of 23 people who were at your facility?
Yes, counsel, and I was also being called to come and give statements of what happened. Everything has been given in.
Have you made statements under oath to the police about what happened at your facility?
With every disease that happened, yes, counsel. Yes, Judge.
And these were sworn statements.
Yes, Judge.
Have they come back to you to tell you what is the progress in the investigation?
No, no, Judge.
It's nearly 10 months now from the time your facility was closed down. Have the police, have the SIU, Special Investigative Unit, come to you at all?
They have sent out emails, I think three days ago, which we busy with their investigations.
For the
Yes.
first time, 3 days ago, they sent you an email.
And they phoned in, and we have responded that we will give in all those relevant documents.
What was the inquiry about?
What all files, that every thing that happened in our NGO and with especially with the deceased.
I don't understand that. Do they want you to make a statement about what happened?
They need files,
They need
evidence.
files
yes.
that you kept
Yes.
during your care of the patients who passed on.
Yes, counsel. Yes, Judge.
Have you given the files to them?
We have a date for the 19th to produce in.
Have the South African police asked for any files from you?
They have, whenever you would make a statement, they would check in with what you are saying.
And do you know the names of all the people who died under your care, whose bodies were subjected to a post-mortem examination? In other words, you know which patients or which deceased underwent a post-mortem examination, which did not.
Yes, most of them I know.
Can you compile a list of that and give it to the advocate who led you right at the beginning?
Yes, but we, after making those statements, the chief had
I'm
to...
talking about
okay.
post-mortems. I want
The
to
post-mortems,
know
yes.
which of the people you cared for
Yes.
underwent post-mortem examination.
I would give in because it's statements we have to give before they could do the post-mortems.
Can you give us a list of those who
Will do.
underwent a post-mortem examination?
Will do, Judge.
Okay. Counsel, I would ask you to follow up and let's get that list so that we can hand it in appropriately.
Thank you, Justice. I've made a note.
Advocate Groenewald.
Thank you very much, Justice. Ma'am, I just have a few questions for you. In respect of, you testified that you did not have a license for your facilities at Atteridgeville and Danville, correct? You only received that in December of 2016.
On the names of the premises, yes.
Yes, correct. That the department knew that you had a facility at Atteridgeville and Danville, and that you had patients there.
Yes, counsel.
Okay. So irrespective of the fact that you did not have a license, the department condoned that and sent you patients. Is that correct?
Yes, counsel.
Okay. Now, ma'am, you testified that you took in the first patients on the 23rd of June. Is that correct?
Yes, counsel.
Now, you testified that on the 28th of July, 2016, you had an investigation or an assessment done by the department of your premises. That's the report that you were referred to now the whole time.
Okay, Council.
You agree?
Yes, Council.
Okay. Now, ma'am, I put it to you that at that point in time, on the 28th of July 2016, 23rd of June, you took in patients. On 28 July 2016, already 9 patients have died at your facility.
I would have to go back with the listing.
Well, we have a document that confirms that, and just for the sake of my colleagues and yourself, Justice, it's ELAH4. There we have the dates of this. So again, just to confirm, after the investigation or the assessment that was done by the department, 9 patients have already died. The department did not close you down. Is that correct?
Yes, Council.
All right. So you kept on providing service to these individuals. Now, thereafter, a further 12 patients died, but you remained open. Is that correct?
Yes, Council.
Did the department know of these deaths?
Yes, Council.
Did the department intervene at any point in time?
They, should I say yes or no, or give a statement in?
You can just say yes or no.
Partially.
Partially.
Yes.
Okay. Can you just qualify partially in the sense that did they intervene to say, we have noticed that since you have opened your facilities, that in a question of 2 months, 20 patients have died. Your facility is not fit to care for and look after these patients.
They did that, and together with the MEC,
But when, sorry, dates are very important here.
the dates, I would check with the visitors' book and pictures that we also took in as evidence.
Was it after August?
You mean Council August 20?
August
16.
2016, Justice.
Yes, around probably there.
Probably there. Because we know that, in fact, there was still individuals, the last registered death at Precious Angels is on the 30th of January 2017.
That's yet from where, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Aren't they part of the 3 who were originally with you and died at hospital? Some of your patients went to Calafong, others
Yes, to
to
other,
Pretoria West Hospital.
yes, Doc.
And you told us in your evidence 3 of them passed on after they'd left your facility.
In hospitals.
Yes.
Yes, I would say. But they were not under our care, the one that passed on afterwards.
They were not,
On
this
our care.
specific patient was not under your
No.
care. Now, ma'am, after the assessment of the 28th of July 2016, did the department request you to provide them with a follow-up report and show to them that you've complied?
Reports were sent on monthly basis. Yes, Council.
Okay, but on this specific report, they say to you, comply with this, or we will have to close you down.
No, Council.
Now, to what extent would you say that the department knew of everything that happened at your facility? Would you say that they knew of everything that happened, most of what was happening at your facility, or nothing that was happening?
They knew, Council.
Everything.
Everything, Council.
Thank you very much, Justice. No more questions.
Did anybody, thank you, Counsel, did anybody at the department, and in particular Dr. Manamela, helped you with the movement of deceased bodies?
No, Judge.
All people who died at your facilities, you placed them in mortuaries and you found their way to their families yourself?
Dr. Manamela, when she would visit, it was on urgent calls that even the coordinators couldn't assist us on. Then that's when she would come in. But she was on our toes. She was always checking on the reports and coming to the NGOs unannounced just to check everything is okay. Even the MEC, when after hearing such cry out, she came in. Even the doctor from Life Esidimeni came in.
Came where? Came to where?
To both centers at Atteridgeville and in Danville.
When was this?
It was probably August, because with all the
It must be somewhere between June 2016 and
2016
and
late,
October, November 2016. Yeah.
probably August, September towards those, with all the doctors from other doctors from Life Esidimeni.
And they were aware, weren't they, that several people had died at your facility?
A number of people, yes, they were aware.
But the question was about the deceased bodies. What was the role of the department, Provincial Department of Health, in the removal of the bodies or their conveyance to families?
When the first one passed on, they mentioned that they do not assist at the moment for burial. That's when I had to call in our local municipality. Then that's when the social worker came and do all the necessary processes for indigent burial, where at the later stage, even the family members were found, they will be able to be traced and know where they have rested. It's something that I had to do.
The short answer
Yes.
is the department did not help
No,
in cutting deceased bodies to various destinations.
no.
Council Utamo. I intend to sit to 5 p.m., so you have 30 minutes in your hands to cross-examine.
Thank you, Justice. There are no questions to the witness.
Oh. That does help. I'm back to re-examination.
Thank you, Justice. Just two questions. The first one relates to the affidavits that you said you made at the police station in respect of the families that you were trying to locate. Can you make those copies available, please?
Yes, even the SMSs of trying to get hold of the family members, everything that you would need, I would not leave without providing.
Second one relates to the files that you had in respect of the patients where you would record when you give them medication. Can we also have copies of those?
Would give in.
Thank you, Justice.
We're going to get copies because I presume the police would want them too. Very well. And this is your moment. Here we tend to give witnesses the last word. After spending the day with us, On a lighter note, let me tell you, Ms. Ncube, one of your facilities was on Musalo Street.
Yes, Council.
You know how close that is to my home in Archiville? You don't know?
No.
No?
No.
My home is on Tlale Street. Kona Tindisa and Tlale in Archiville. And Musalo is the very next street.
Yes, it is. All right, thank you for
That's very close to the bone. Anyway, it's a totally relevant consideration. Is there anything you want to say before we discharge you from the witness box?
There is no amount of words that would change the situation. There is no amount of sympathy I would give to family members that will bring back their loved ones. It wasn't intentional, and it is something that haunts me as a person. I mean, losing one family member from your own without being in such programs, it's trauma. What more of adults in your name as young as you are? At this point in time, all the stakeholders were assisting in running the center and the drive that I'm in. They have pulled out because of my name being marked on Life Esidimeni. I'm currently sitting unemployed, lots of debts, angry family members. I have to be the one that bears it. And to me, on a serious note, it would have been an amazing path to go on, seeing adults reaching to their best ability, knowing that even our little ones have a smooth path to the years that they would have lived. Other family members still send encouraging words, and I'm also encouraged on the number of years that the Life Esidimeni patient, especially with severe profound disability that they have encountered. It encourages me that there is still life that we can still hope for, and the drive that we also give, and it can be sent out. But I would request as well for the department to ensure that they give early intervention, starting from people who are being diagnosed from the hospital. There should be counseling for parents that have been diagnosed, that have been given such patients, a source of support, and there should be inclusive trainings, because at the end, we also want our loved ones to be members of the society, to also indulge the able people's resources that they do in sports, in all cases, medically, therapeutically, in all angles that the able people are doing. Some of us are not here for money. I'm sitting here as a parent that knows how you want the best for the child that you cannot help. So, yes.
Perhaps, oh, thank you. Whilst we are there, perhaps we should bring it to a close. But I wondered whether, do you think it's appropriate to apologize to the families of people who died at your facility?
As I said earlier on,
You don't have to. I just wondered whether it's
Yes.
something that you find in you that you're able to do.
I would give my life for filling their hearts with peace and everything that they had to go through, because I know someday we would also have to go through such. And I have always cried out with those family members, and it's not an easy thing. I still suffer from such trauma. I can imagine for them. Still, no counseling being given, and closure is to postmortems, knowing what really happened, and to be at peace at the end. And as well with those that also wanted to do rituals, as we have also said, they are more than welcome at any given time, at any given, whatever that will make families be at peace. From the side of my efforts, our efforts, and the tragedy that had to happen, I really deeply sympathize even now. I mean, with anybody with being stigmatized with such a number of adults being deceased under your name.
Yeah, but
Who
besides
is-
you, I don't
Yeah.
hear you say, for whatever my omissions might have been,
I
I
apologize.
apologize. Shouldn't you reach there?
Okay, sorry.
You're not
Judge.
forced to, but I mean, understand your pain, but I
Yeah.
mean, do you want to get there or not?
That's why I would say I would give my life for the sorry, the sympathy, the pain that the families are feeling, and it wasn't intentional at all. In short, I am deeply sorry to a point of saying I would exchange for your family members in my place.
Okay, man, thank you ever so much. And thank you again for coming out and for braving it all and coming to say your side of this difficult tragedy. You are excused if you may want to leave now. Obakeng wants to make one small announcement. I don't know where he is. And he thought he wants to do it before we adjourn. Obakeng.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have one tiny announcement regarding the venue. So tomorrow we'll not be using this venue. Tomorrow until Friday we'll not be using this venue. So we have two venues that will be in use. It's one outside, the bigger venue. They will give preference to the presiding officer, judge, and his team, and the legal teams, and family members and members of the media. Once that room is full, we'll move to another room which will have a TV where the whole proceedings will be broadcast live, something like that. I'm not good with technology. But in the other room, we'll have a TV. So all the members, the people who are not like able to sit in the main venue, they'll move to that one. But in the main venue, we'll try to give preference to the Deputy Chief Justice, former Deputy Chief Justice, the legal teams, family members, and all members of the media. Everyone who's attending will have to go to the smaller room. Thank you. That will be until Friday. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody after a difficult day. We will now adjourn until tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you.
Angapatala kusasa.